morning, everybody. Today we are in the Porsche with the top up, so if you hear a few squeaks and rattles that you don't normally otherwise, that's why. That's what happens on 18-year-old convertibles, I guess. But I wanted to take a look at something that I've been curious about in the automobile industry for, I don't know, since I started driving, basically. And that's software tunes. Now, software tunes come in a variety of different flavors, and they all have different claims. Some claim big things, some are much more reasonable. But in general, what they are going to offer you is a modest bump in horsepower, as well as some tweaks to the driving experience that you probably would want otherwise. So in this case, we're going to be looking at a tune from Softronic. Now, Softronic is a company that works specifically with Porsches, Ferraris, BMWs, other cars like that. And they offer a software tune for about $1,000, and they claim a 20 horsepower increase for this car, the 996 911, as well as the guy who I was talking to on the phone said that you could get some pops and burbles with your exhaust. It's going to firm up the Tiptronic shifts, allow it to stay in a lower gear for longer, and also remap your throttle. So in theory, if all of that pans out, it should fairly dramatically impact the driving experience. Whether it makes the car significantly faster or not, that's really not up for debate. We're going to find that out scientifically. But as far as the driving experience, if your throttle map is different and the car is making all kinds of pops and burbles and the transmission is shifting differently, that will impact your driving experience. So we got this little thing here. This is what's going to enable us to read out from the ECU and send a file back to Softronic, have them recode that file, and then send it back to us. It's a pretty simple process. You use a laptop to flash your ECU, and to be honest, I've actually already had that process done. I didn't flash the car yet. We're going to do that today, but I already have the new file, so I've already read out the current file. They've modified it, sent it back to me, so we're going to flash it today. But while we're out here, I have my Dragy hooked up, and we are going to do a couple of 0 to 60 pulls and see how the car performs, and then afterwards we'll see if it actually did make any difference, and I'll report to you my findings on the driving experience and let you guys know what I think of software tunes in general, and specifically this Softronic version. I really wanted this light to change. Hey, it changed. All right, so this light just changed, and we're gonna give it a go. The traction control is off. We are in manual mode, starting in first gear. AC is off. So that was 6.05 seconds. Now that is a little bit slower than claimed from factory, and we'll give it one more try, I guess. But keep in mind that this is an 18-year-old car. It is basically bone stock, and it is an extraordinarily hot and muggy day outside. So that is definitely going to impact engine performance. So 6.05, not outside of what I would expect. I think rated from the factory, these convertible automatic Porsche 996s are rated for like 5.2, 5.3, something like that. So we were close. Hopefully we can get under 5 seconds and then see what the tune does. Here we go. Seconds. Obviously worse. So maybe that's just what this car is doing. 6 seconds, which is unfortunate. It looks like it's lost a little bit of gas since its heyday. If I get an opportunity, maybe I'll do one more pull. Here Here we go. All right, 5.89, a little bit better. So that's what we're gonna go with. Average time of about 6 seconds and best time of 5.89 seconds. So I just stopped for Starbucks and I was reviewing a couple of the polls that I just did, and I realized that one of them, the very first one that I did, didn't record video, and it marked it as invalid because the slope was like 1% or something like that. Whatever, it's close enough for me. That plays into our average for pre-flashing. So let's go flash it. The process of doing the flash is actually pretty simple. Softronic provides you with their own software, and you plug in the connector to the ODB2 port right there. That's underneath the dashboard in this car. Connects via USB to your laptop. Make sure your laptop is plugged in and the car is on. Not turned on, but just set to the on position with the key. Don't start the car. And then you will hit next. It will run some checks. Then you have to do something manually based on what car you have. This is different for every car. So yes, I know better. And then you hit next. And then you hit program ECU memory. And I don't know why this box is so small. Come on now, there we go. There is the tuned file. Open it, and it will flash your ECU. Boom, successful programming. So we're programmed, and Softronic says that you need to drive the car about 30 miles in order for it to remap everything and relearn. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go for a quick drive, and then we'll be back after about 30 miles and see if there's any difference. We're gonna try to do this with the top down and see what kind of terrible noise we get from the wind. But I got the windows up, so hopefully that helps a little bit. We've driven 27.8 miles, so very close to the recommended 30 miles, and we'll hit 30 miles before we do any performance testing. But just wanted to give you guys like an update on like the driving experience, what I've felt while, I don't know, driving around for the last 20 minutes or so. The car feels different. I will definitely say the car feels different. The downshifts, the positioning and the rev range is much more aggressive. The transmission seems to know when I want to go a lot sooner than it did before. I used to have to, this car was kind of weird. It's not a slow car, but you could drive it very conservatively. The pedal was not very responsive unless you mashed it to the floor, and then the car went. But right now, it's a lot different than that. It feels like if I blip the throttle a little bit, I'll get like two downshifts out of it, and I just kind of tapped it a little bit to the floor. Not even to the floor, just a little bit down. So the throttle is a lot more responsive, certainly. I've also noticed that the shifting is a lot more firm. Especially the 2-3 upshift is the first time I experienced it, going any kind of speed, it was so quick that it took me by surprise. Not like it was shockingly fast, but it was much more firm than I had experienced previously in this car. So I think that was also part of the tune. I did request as aggressive of a throttle map and upshifting as they could do on the tune. So it seems like that worked. I don't notice necessarily any more power out of the car. I didn't really expect to notice it in, my butt dyno. Maybe we'll see a tenth or two off of our 0 to 60 time if we actually did increase our horsepower. That could also certainly be related to the better shifting. And if that's the case, I would take it. Like if it makes the car quicker, great. The question becomes like, is this worth the price that you pay for a tune? Some tuners don't even allow you to do it remotely. Like Softronics sent me the little OBD connector, and they allow me to send my file to them, and they recoded it and send it back. Some tuners require you to take the ECU out of the car and physically mail it to them, and that process could take potentially a while, and also you have to know how to take the ECU out of your car. So what kind of value proposition is this actually giving you? Well, I mean, before we do our 0 to 60 test, I mean, I guess I can't say for sure, but just driving the car around, like I said, it feels different. It doesn't feel like a different car. It just feels like a maybe slightly upgraded version of what you had. And if that's enough, if that's what you're after, then this can certainly help. I also think that if your car is more significantly modified, if you have much more free-flowing exhaust, if you have no cats on the car, it can help eliminate some of the fault codes, just clear them and get rid of them completely. It could also better tune the car to work with a more free-flowing exhaust, which might give you better results. Additionally, if your car has some kind of a power adder, a tune is going to work so much better on those cars, because you could physically tune, like with a turbo, you could tune the amount of boost. So it really depends on what kind of setup you have in your car as far as what kind of returns you're going to get for your investment here. For me, right now, just driving around, it seems a little different, and I guess you would say that it is better. I don't know that I would pay, I paid $900 for this. I don't know that it's necessarily worth that for me, but I mean, it did what it said it was going to do. And the guy, Softronic, the guy who I talked to on the phone, he didn't lie to me. He wasn't making any outrageous promises, but it wasn't. It's not a miracle cure, So let's see what kind of performance we get, and we'll wrap this video up. That's disappointingly the same. Let's give it one more shot. We get another stretch of road here. All right, so 6.07. Doesn't look like it's really any faster at all. So, you're just basically buying the slightly firmer shifts and more aggressive throttle mapping. And to be honest, you could do that for a lot cheaper. There are products out there for especially for this car. I don't know about every car, but there are products out there for like $300 or $400 that can do the same thing. That don't involve a full ECU remap. So, I mean, if that's all you're after, then maybe that's the better way to go. So that is a little disappointing, but I think we maybe knew that going in, and now we know for sure. So thanks so much for watching, guys, and get subscribed to the channel if you are not already. Many more car videos coming up, and thanks for watching. See you next time.